Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 5 Tips and Tricks for Careers in Athletics. I'm your host, Dr. Maury Mosovitz, with my all-time most favorite, most wonderful, best co-host, Jen Albanese. Hi, Jen.
Hello, Maury. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. How's
We,
everybody doing?
we've got one of your faves coming
I
in.
know, I know. I feel like we've had
Yeah, we got a streak of
a
Jen
streak of
people.
Jen people. That's okay. That's all right. I love it.
Ricky Pasternak, who has had an awesome kind of career. He's like one of those people that started in analytics before analytics was really the thing it is right now, and has gotten into the world of sports betting and more now horse racing. So it's a really interesting path and great background of people who might not think that there's these careers out here that have now turned into like a full, huge background for him. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's got some really great experience. He's worked with the NBA and at DraftKings, like you said. So really, really smart and has some really great experience. And he's also somebody that really wants to give back. Like, I feel like he's really wants to give back to especially Syracuse, where he went to school, and like give those tips to people that are looking to get into the industry. So looking forward to chatting with him.
Yeah, I think he'll be awesome. With that, Ricky is very much in horse racing.
Yes.
You've been a frequent going to Saratoga,
Yes.
the racetrack there. So for those people that don't know about Saratoga, you should tell them what that is like. I feel like you go back in time when you go there.
Yeah. Oh, it's so cool. So, yeah, my husband, John, has one of his best friends, and him and his wife and kids live in Saratoga. His wife is from Saratoga. And if you live in Saratoga, New York area, like horse racing, you grew up with that.
Yeah.
That is what you do. You spend your summers at the track. So obviously after meeting John and starting to date John, like we spent a lot of time going out to Saratoga, spending time with Sean and Liz, and just so many fun memories. And I mean, I never win anything, but like fun memories of like going there. Like when you were younger in college, you used to go and like run for tables and like go and sit in the, and just sit there and drink all day and party and watch the horse racing. And it's really fun. And then now as we get older, now we go and we like dress up and we sit at the finish line and we wear the cool hats, or, so it's definitely something that we do every summer and we really enjoy. And Ricky is always there when we go, which is awesome. So I get to see him and catch up with him and still stay in touch with him. And it's just such a fun traditional thing.
Yeah, and the Belmont was being hosted there because the Belmont's track was
Belmont
being
Park
remodeled.
Yep. So we got to go to Belmont out there at Saratoga. And then you're right. You grew up right by Pimlico.
I had the same thing kind of growing up. It's like, not knowing it, I thought, oh, everyone's exposed to horse racing, but really they're community based. And yes, Baltimore 100%. Is kind of this strange pocket of horse racing. We don't really, the kart racing was not a big thing in our area. It was more the jockey on the horse racing. And so that just became a part, like my family would go out to the track and we would go and see it, and just kind of a part of our lives and what's around. And then, when you went out around the area, there would be horse farms and like people training and being around it. And I kind of grew up around that, not knowing that that's not like what happens everywhere.
I feel like you said, it's very like based on where you are in the country, because obviously Kentucky, Louisville, with the Derby and everything like that.
And there's some places out in the West in California. But it's not everywhere. It's not like across everywhere in the country.
And we're lucky here in New York State. There's obviously there's Poconos, which is down in Pennsylvania. We have Vernon Downs, which is about a half an hour, 45 minutes from here, which is a racetrack as well. So we're lucky in this area. It's more common than I would say in other areas, but it's a lot of fun.
It's a really interesting sport too. And if you don't, it's one of those things, if you don't know about like the culture and how much work is put into the breeding process and the training process, and those people that are jockeys and how much time it takes for them to train and the strength. And it really has a really interesting background. So those people that might not be as aware of sport of horse racing and what it's like, it's definitely something interesting to check out for sure.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And Ricky is so well versed in it and is an expert. Like I said, anytime, wherever, like it's at the track, I'm like, all right, Ricky, which horse am I going for? One, two, what am I doing?
He was built to spit out stats. Like that guy, no,
absolutely.
he can memorize, look at, figure out stats, figure out what it is. Like he was built for that. So definitely going to be great. And we'll have some awesome tips from him when we get back from these messages.
Are you a loyal 5 Tips and Tricks podcast listener? If not, now is the time to start. Get all your info and fun content on the podcast by following us on all our social channels at @AthCareerPod. The 5 Tips and Tricks podcast is a part of Athletic Career Consulting. Make sure to reach out to us. The one-stop shop for everything is our website, www.athcareer.com. Remember, follow and like us on @AthCareerPod, rate and review us, and get all your info at www.athcareer.com. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Maury, would you like to introduce our guest today?
He got his start in sports the old-fashioned way, putting his work behind the scenes. As a student head manager at Syracuse University, where he earned his bachelor's in sports management from Fall College of Sport and Human Dynamics, he coordinated travel, managed finance, and helped coaches and players prepare at the highest level of college athletics. From there, he sharpened his business insight with sales internships from the Rockland Boulders and stretched in wealth management at Merrill Lynch, before finding his true calling at the intersection of sports and content. He spent nearly 2.5 years at CRM Supervision and Writers and Racing Dudes, producing over 500 pieces of high engagement sports and racing content, driving a 45% increase in organic traffic and generating over $125K in additional monthly revenue through data-driven SEO strategy, while simultaneously serving as a game reviewer and statistician for the NBA, breaking down film for officiating education across 200 games and contributing to All-Star Weekend, the Draft, and the Combine. He then made the move into the fast-growing world of sports betting, spending nearly a year as the CMR Sports Associate at BET MGM, where he ran multiple channel campaigns for major sports events, boosting email open rates by 28% and click-through rates by 34%, before landing at DraftKings, where he spent over 3 years as a VIP host and player development executive. There he grew his portfolio from $9.3 million to over $10.1 million in annual revenue and maintained a 97.2 VIP client retention rate, and expanded the Northeast market by acquiring 12 high-volume clients. Now he's stepping into the new role of Operations and Business Intelligence Senior Associate with the New York Racing Association, bringing his full array of analytics, relationship management, and industry experience to one of the most storied organizations in racing. Please welcome to the podcast, Ricky Pasternak. Welcome, Ricky.
Well, welcome.
Hi, Ricky.
That was a great intro, Maury. I didn't realize I had so much on the resume.
You've done a ton. I mean, since you've left Syracuse, you are killing it, doing a ton of great things and really getting into what is a really hot world of sports and betting and analytics, which has become such a huge part of the business over the past couple of years.
Yeah, it's definitely blown up from the time I started. And New Jersey was the first legal state in 2018. And we just look around in the industry, there's always something changing, and there's prediction markets now. And it's just so great to see everything booming. It's a great industry if that's what you want to be a part of, knowing that every day is going to be different, every week and month are going to be different as well. So it's a great time for young people to join it, and it's relatively new with room to grow every single day.
A lot of people might not know about analytics and what it takes to go through it, and you kind of were at the really start of that for what it is right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Ricky's also my handicapper for any sort of horse race that we can bet on. So anytime I'm like, okay, Ricky, who am I? No, I'm kidding. But and also Ricky was one of my interns.
Yes.
So again, another favorite. And so thank you for doing this. I'm glad we could get you on. And like Maury said, this is a great up and coming piece that will be good for people to hear about. So, and
exciting because you're getting into a new role and doing something with New York sports and just something really
congratulations.
Cool. Yeah,
congratulations.
Yeah, it's come full circle. I mean, Jen and I have been talking about doing this for a while and just some background things as to why we couldn't do it. But I jumped at the opportunity when I knew I can, and just to get back a little bit to Syracuse, where I came from, and we all have such passion for the school and the community. So it was the first thing that came to mind when I verbally accepted an offer and wanted to get this done before the new
literally texted me like instantly. Can I be on the podcast? I was like, yes, you
yes,
can.
You can be.
Yes, you
Love
can.
Well, with that, I'm sure there's a lot of people that'll love to hear your tips and tricks. So let's throw it out to the first one.
Yeah, the first one for me is very sports related. It's always be comfortable being uncomfortable. And that kind of sounds like an oxymoron, but what I like to say is we're in sports, and when we go through Syracuse or externally, this podcast isn't just for Syracuse, but that was my background and a lot of our background. It's really understanding that you're not going to be comfortable all the time. It might be a salary that you're not comfortable with. It might be leaving your family for the first time. It might be doing a role that you really have no experience doing, but it might be your first. And as you continue to grow and develop, what that sort of does is it allows more doors, more opportunities. So I always say be comfortable being uncomfortable. And when you're in the role, put yourself on sort of this pedestal where you're willing to try things, right? So it might not be a project you've ever done before, but I can even relate just working with Jen when I was in college. There were things that I was asked to do that I had no idea what I was doing, but always willing to learn, always taking the proper steps to learn and then make the mistake and learn why the mistake was made. So hopefully it doesn't occur again. So again, just kind of learning to be uncomfortable. When we go to college for the first time, everything is new. So that's a great time to sort of step into muddy waters and then just take it from there. And most importantly, embrace everything. Embrace being comfortable, being uncomfortable. I love that phrase. And yes, it's applicable to sports, but I also think it's applicable to life.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we're just going to be faced with things that we don't always anticipate. So we should all embrace it. And if we're comfortable being uncomfortable, I think that'll go a long way in this industry.
I mean, that had to be a part of your transition into what your role is right now. Like, because when you were starting to do what you're doing now, that really wasn't like kind of in the nexus of things. So how did that like connect with all of this?
Yeah, I'll be honest. Going back to Syracuse, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, to be honest. I was kind of just an open book and I like to say a blank canvas, and just kind of seeing what was going to happen and just enjoying that and getting all these different experiences made it great. And just being willing to be uncomfortable really, really helped, because if I said no to some things along the way, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at now. Exactly. And if you say yes to something, that's not a lifetime yes. That's a temporary yes.
Right.
And I think a lot of people get confused of, will I grow here? How will the structure be? What is the compensation going to be? But you're just saying yes in the moment. And you're not saying this isn't a 30-year contract or a 40-year contract. You're just saying yes in the moment. And you see where it goes, and you kind of ask yourself these questions along the way, but that is part of the growing process.
Awesome.
People have said that before about the being uncomfortable, but I like how you use the examples of like, you might be uncomfortable with your salary in the beginning or moving away from home. And like, you think about it in the actual role, but like all the other parts of your life also might be a little bit uncomfortable, but you have to be okay with that to grow in what you're doing. So I liked how you used those examples too, because some people don't think about that or don't want to talk about that. Like, oh, your entry salary isn't going to be millions of dollars, not in sports really anywhere. So that's uncomfortable in the beginning when you're like, well, I got to pay my student loans. I got to pay my bills to live. Like, it will get a little bit uncomfortable when you start out and the salary is not where you want it to be. So it's being okay with that and being able to adjust and, grow with that, I guess. So
awesome.
Good one.
Ricky, starting off really strong. What do you got for us for number 2?
Yeah, it's kind of piggybacking, but when I stay open to all experiences, and that means when you're actually in the role. So when you're in the role and you get a chance, and I've had this opportunity, especially when I was at DraftKings, when I was doing VIP stuff, I really wanted to expand. So if I could get into the hospitality world, I can get into the marketing world, or specifically CRM, which is like more that channel marketing, digital marketing, always say yes. And even if it's your, what I say, sub priority, it's not always your main priority, just try to set in on meetings. It's important. You take notes, understand their world, because that could help you down the road. And when you have interviews or you're going into these sort of maybe roundtable meetings like this, you have so much more variety to speak on and experiences to share. If I was at a company for over 3 years, if I didn't expand or was willing to take on a new experience and learn what other people are doing within the company, I would have been doing myself a disservice. And when we really break down, 3 years might not sound like a lot, but then you break it down, that's over 1,000 days. That's millions of seconds. There's always opportunities to learn. And people want to help you. People are enthusiastic. So reach out to them. Be almost annoying and say, hey, I saw you're working on this project. I'm really interested on it. I'm working on it. Is there anything I could do to help? Or I know I'm not quite on this project, but maybe I could sit in and we could collaborate even for 30 minutes a week.
Right.
And 99% of people that want to be productive in this industry know where you're coming from and will say, sure, let's do it. Or, hey, I'll give you a call in 30 minutes. Let's talk through it. And you have to kind of put yourself out there, and it can be overwhelming, but you have to do it. And once you're confident in your role and what you're doing and what your day-to-day is, that's when you reach out, not in your first week when everything's overwhelming and you're learning who you're reporting to and you're learning everything and you're getting integrated with HR. It's okay. I'm 6 months in. I feel good now. I'm confident. Let's reach out to Maury because I want to hear more about what's going on with actual venue stuff. I'm going to reach out to Jen because I know nothing what's going on with this marketing plan for this sport. I want to learn about it, whether we'll do it on the weekend, we could do it before the workday starts. So more so just really being open and kind of putting yourself out there. And it goes back to being uncomfortable, willing to fail.
Yeah. I mean, I think, when you say reaching out to other departments, like if you want to grow in your career or you want to lead a department or you want to be a GM or you want to lead a company, you got to understand every area. Like you don't have to be expert in every area, but you have to understand it if you want to be able to manage those people. Like I might not be an expert in, on the creative side and how to create video and that kind of stuff, but I understand what it takes to do that in order to help work towards goals that we both have. So I think that's really a good thing for people, like you said, young and early in the profession is yes, get your feet settled and get good at what you're doing and be confident in that, but then also branch out to understand what other people are doing. So you understand it as in total, because everybody's working towards the same goal, but you have to understand what everybody's, how everybody plays a part in that. So I really like that. I think that's really smart, especially for young people in this industry. I think that's really smart.
Awesome.
So.
Okay, Ricky, number 3, you're killing it.
Yeah. No, that's good to hear.
No, it's good. It's really, you've got some great ones already on the board.
Yeah, really good.
These are a little bit of a pivot, but next one is just being mindful of learning transferable skills, especially in sports. And to kind of combine that with is building your personal brand. So what does that ultimately mean? All of us, at least I shouldn't say all of us, I went to Syracuse with a one-track mind, hoping this is what I was going to do. As Jen pointed out, I wanted to be the GM of the Yankees, and I quickly learned that's not going to happen. So,
but it's a great dream to have, Ricky. Come on.
It is a great dream.
You never know.
I'll help out for free at any time. But it's just when you are at that job, especially in sports, and obviously this is sports-based podcast, but you could always learn something that's super transferable for your next opportunity in sports. And sometimes the job description might not be perfect as to what you were doing or your experiences, but that transferable skill is super important. And people always get shy of interviews, or what am I going to say in the interview? How do I display my experience? I sort of think they liked your resume. So that's step 1. And step 2 in that is go through your experience. And there are certain things on the job description you can discuss that you did at your role that might not be on the resume. So that's sort of that transferable skill and going along with that personal brand. So you can kind of, you go on people's LinkedIns and you see multiple experiences. Even if you've worked in it a little bit or a lot, it's something you've done and you're able to showcase that to other jobs, to different departments. This all goes back to a company that you might love, but a different role you want to pursue. Building those experiences and say, oh, I worked on this with X, Y, and Z, or this individual. Oh, so you can do the role. It just wasn't on your resume. It just wasn't in your day-to-day experiences. And then you've made those connections. So internally, it's extremely important to do that. But again, this is not something they're going to teach you in the handbook. This is not something that, you might even learn in the classroom. This is just something that you might kind of learn on your own. And everyone, again, needs to go back to being comfortable, being uncomfortable, reaching out and doing those things. But then those transferable skills are extremely important because I've learned VIP management, but it's account management. It's customer experience. There's so many things that I learned from there. In the CRM world, it was CRM, but it was digital marketing overall. It was creative, making sure the creative was okay. So to Jen's point, I wasn't a superstar in creative, but I know how to bridge the gap between creative and the CRM and the digital template, and what are the words going to look like? Are the fonts going to line up with all the other parts of the company? We don't want it to be different because then the messaging is poor. So just little things like that are extremely important. And I think those transferable skills can go to any job as long as you market yourself and build your own brand.
I was going to say that I think one of the things that's really fascinating is that you're right. There's never going to be a job that's perfectly suited for like what you're looking to do. So if you're applying for something and trying to do something and all you're going to look at is things that are exactly what you think you need, you'll probably never find it. And so you really have to be open to what can I do and be, in that same realm of things for it to be a future and to give yourself an opportunity. So it's a great example.
I think, and speaking like that more, Ricky, I think you said it about interviews. People get nervous about, being specific to what they can talk about. But what I always say is use examples of what you've done. And you might not even realize that skill is transferable. So like I always say that, like, give me an example of what you've done, like a project management type of a thing. Yeah, project management is so vast. And so, it can be anything. So use examples of experiences that you have that you don't even realize those skills that are going to be transferable for you in some of these roles. So I think that one was really important.
Yeah, Jen, just quickly to piggyback, when people are interviewing, they're encouraged about your resume. They're encouraged about your experiences. So they're giving you the tools
opportunity to talk about it.
To do it. Exactly. You, in a way, you are sort of interviewing them and getting the culture and things of that nature, but they want you to tell them what you did. And you don't want to just read the resume. They could do that on their own time. You need to kind of dive into it or discuss the things that are important that build off the resume, what's not actually on there in pen and paper. So just to kind of further that point that you mentioned.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Awesome. Okay, what do we got for number 4?
Always continue to network, and it's never too late to pivot. And I learned this lesson a long time ago. Whether it's internally at the company you're working for, whether it's even outside of the sports industry, always continue to make those connections. Never turn down an opportunity to meet someone new or interact, whether it's the phone, email conversations, LinkedIn conversations. I don't care if you're sending TikTok reels back and forth. Always do it, right? And you never know when you're going to need that person or they might need you. And I always am a big believer of things pop up when we least expect it. So you might be in a role that you're very content with, and then someone that you reached out to or spoke to 2 years ago has been following your resume, following your career, and you never even knew about it. Mm-hmm. But if you didn't do your homework and your due diligence those 2 years ago when you were interviewing for the current role, or you were trying to learn something about another part of the business or another part of the sports industry, you might have missed your opportunity. So it's really easy to connect and network when you're looking for a job because you're forced to. You're sitting on the couch and you kind of have to push yourself to do it. It's a lot harder to do it when you have your day-to-day stuff, when you might be dealing with family stuff, when you have vacations planned. Always take that time. And I've really tried to do a good job as I'm turning 30 in a few months to connect with one person brand new once a week. Yeah. Could be 30 minutes. It doesn't have to be a coffee. It doesn't have to be for a drink or anything like that, but just to connect. 15-minute phone call. I'm interested in what you do at the MLB. I'm just making it up and just pick their brain. And we're 2026. Everyone wants to talk about themselves. Every single person. They'll be more than happy to talk to you for 15 minutes about what they do, what they're working on. And then to kind of piggyback, it's never too late to pivot. If you're doing these connections and you find another part of the industry might be good for you, entertain it. Maybe if it goes back to being uncomfortable, but just understand that it's okay to pivot. Maybe compensation forces you that way. Maybe work location or family location or other things you didn't anticipate. So it's okay to pivot. It's not a bad thing. Hopefully it's in sports. We always want to encourage people to stay in sports. So pivot. And I've been in a lot of different roles in sports. I haven't been in the same thing. So, and I've certainly pivoted multiple times. So it's never too late to do that if you feel the opportunity is right.
I love that pivot. That's good. Nobody's really said that. I think that's really important to understand that it's never too late to make a change in your career, in your life. Obviously your network is there to support you and help you, but to know that that's okay. That even Ricky, you say you're going to turn 30. You're a baby, but you know what I mean. Like I think that's something to always consider and understand, and that sports is ever changing. It's not like it's the same as it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or how it will be in 5 years. So being able to be open to that pivot is really important. And I kind of gives you like that peace of mind of knowing like whatever's meant to be will be. And I just have to be open to all of those opportunities. And making those connections is important. So I love that. Isn't that like a Friends thing too? A pivot? Is that Friends?
Yeah.
Pivot? Isn't that it?
Yeah, it definitely is.
I was going to say, recently, I feel like a lot of times you're hearing people talk about how they had an interview or talk to somebody and they didn't end up getting the job or getting that position, but it came back. And then later they're like, I thought about that person. I really wanted them for a role, and a better role comes along. And I've heard this multiple times recently where it's like, it wasn't exactly what I went off for. It wasn't what I was going to do. But in the end, it really led to something even better than what I expected. So you can't focus your life on. I think it's a great example.
Yeah, exactly. And to talk about that point even more, that's why first impressions are so important. Yeah. Because that interaction, you did a lot of things that a lot of people wouldn't do. You're reaching out. One, you already have a job, so you're doing it on your own time, and you're being ambitious. So you're doing three things or having three qualities that other people aren't willing to show. So in 6 months or a year, Maury, to your point, you might not have gotten that job you were trying for, but you just made a great impression with that hiring manager or that director or that person in HR, that could help you in the next step. When that new opportunity comes, you're already 1 or 2 steps ahead of everyone else.
Awesome.
That's so good.
Okay.
All right, Ricky. So the last one, what do you know now that you wish you knew then? So what do you know now at this point that you wish you knew when you first started?
How do I deal, or we as society, but me specifically, deal with the word no? And I think this is more of a life thing. It has to do with sports and jobs, but
yeah,
I think one of the things that I realized that I could teach myself is not the word no that bothers us. It's the emotion behind no, because what does that mean now? Okay, you didn't get this job. Do you have to keep looking for a job? Does that mean you have to look outside your location? Do you have to take a salary cut? It could be in your personal life as well. No, unfortunately, a relationship didn't work out, or you had one of your best friends that's no longer your best friend. And so I think dealing with the word no isn't the hard part. It's the emotion and the ramifications of no behind that. And I think we sort of go in, we as in me specifically, but everyone, just into this tailspin of how are we going to deal with it because we didn't get what we wanted, or we have to learn or use a new path. Obviously, in a sales role, you hear no all the time, but it's a job and you're going to hear no. And that's not exactly what I mean. It's more of, again, a relationship or a work experience that you were told no, or, hey, we need to pivot, or, hey, this isn't going to work. But we need to try to find a new way, and just kind of dealing with the emotion behind that is super important. And in that same breath, what are we going to do from there? Right. So we're told no, we lost this job, and we're sort of told, hey, you're not working here anymore. Sure, maybe you want to take the weekend or a few days to kind of and that's totally fine, right? And you talk to your family, your friends, and sort of deal with it. That's not what I mean. I mean, okay, the next week, that second week, what are we going to do? What is our game plan? Who are we going to reach out to first? So it's dealing with those ramifications, and that's why I kind of like to look at perspective and say, okay, with the 4 tips I mentioned about the actual career in sports, those all sort of tie in together. So once you're told no, or, hey, we're not doing this project, or whatever the case may be, we sort of have a game plan. You're not really starting at ground zero. And I always like to relate this in relationships, friendships, family, work colleagues. When we're told no, we have to sort of find a new route. Maybe, hey, we've been told no so many times. Maybe this job's not for me. I tried this promotion. I've tried 2 or 3 times. It's just not working. Yes, I have a job. It's great, but I want to grow. I have ambition. So I'm told no. Either A, let's have an honest conversation with where I'm at, where we see my growth, or maybe it is time for me to look elsewhere, or look in a different department, or have that honest conversation. And again, that's why I like to say it's not the word no. It's the ramifications of what it means for us, especially with our careers. And again, it could be life. And the last point to just touch on, I wish I told myself this a long time ago. Not everyone that comes into your life is meant to stay in your life forever. And that's certainly not to do with jobs. And I've seen it before. I thought I was best friends with colleagues that I worked with. And all of a sudden you bonded over the work. You bonded over your manager. You bonded over that project. And that comes and goes. And hopefully you make it through and you have other things of that nature. But not everyone's meant to stay there forever, unfortunately. So just kind of take it in, embrace that time you have with that person or those group of people, and just kind of learn how to deal with the no. And each experience is a learning one, and just taking a positive thing away from what you just went through.
Well, Ricky,
the emotion with the no, that was so good. That is so good, because you don't think about that. You think about, oh, okay, I don't get the job. That's the no. But it's like, how do you deal with that from moving forward? And I don't know if there's ever a perfect answer for that, and everybody might be a little bit different on how they deal with it. But I think that is really key for people to figure out how they personally deal with the emotions of the no. Like I said, like you said, it's just life in general, and everybody will deal with it differently, but identifying that and knowing that that's something that you have to work on, I think is pretty cool, and can really help you move forward in things a lot faster and better than other people would. So,
well, Ricky, thank you so much for doing this. It's so great to see you flourishing and doing something awesome in the field of sports, and great. Good luck on this next role. We know that you're going to kill it. I know it's an awesome opportunity, and we're looking forward to seeing all the great things you're going to do.
Perfect. I appreciate it, guys. Looking forward to it.
I'm so glad we got to finally do this, and we're very proud of you, Ricky. I'm very proud of you. So thank you for everything.
Haven't made a trip back to Cuse in a while, but you guys are always the first ones I see when we come back. So
as soon as you're there, we're going to get you right into the building. We got a whole bunch of new things to show you, so we'll get you all around.
Ricky, I'm out of the closet. I got a new office with a window. It's stepping up in the world.
Long time coming.
Long overdue.
Long overdue.
You got good things to see, Ricky, so we got to get you up to Cuse.
Yeah.
You have to make it work.
Yeah. Well, thank you again so much, Ricky. And thanks everybody for listening. So make sure you guys are following us on all of your social channels at @AthCareerPod, and liking us on all the podcast platforms, and rating and reviewing. And new episodes drop every Tuesday. So thanks everybody. And thank you, Ricky.
Thanks everybody. Bye. If you like the 5 Tips and Tricks podcast, make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. You can rate and review us, including questions that may be answered on future episodes. The 5 Tips and Tricks podcast for careers in athletics is part of Athletic Career Consulting. Check us out at www.athcareer.com. Don't forget to follow and like us on your top social media platforms.